Story 1. You give less and less of a fuck with each passing year. It's great not to have to worry about how my friends are going to judge my clothes, hairstyle, music, choice of boyfriend, etc. They keep it to themselves instead of spewing toxins all over social media. Story 2. I do prison ministry volunteer work. One thing I've learned from inmates is how precious it is to have free years of life that cannot be taken away from you. For instance, if you go to prison at age 60, that's already 60 years of freedom that you had that the government can never take away. Contrast that with a 20-year-old who is sentenced to life without parole. So, getting older, assuming you are free, is life put in the bank that can never be taken from you. Story 3. Calmness. Being wiser. Having identified and treated health issues. Being appreciative of smaller, more ordinary things. Seeing the sheer weirdness of life and the universe and being alive, and being in awe of it. Learning to genuinely love suffering because, why not, it makes it easier. It doesn't mean seeking suffering. It does mean seeing suffering as an opportunity. Story 4. Not caring as much about what people think. You reach a point where you'll wear socks with sandals and eat cake for breakfast, and nobody can tell you otherwise. Story 5. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and however I want within the constraints of the law, that is. You no longer have to wait until Christmas to buy a new console. Story 6. I was born in 1961, so I guess I qualify as having grown older. For me, the best part is twofold. 1. Realizing the blessings I've had that I never really noticed or thought about when I was younger and recognizing the positive impact I've made and can make on the people around me. We make more of a difference to a wider circle than we think. Coming to terms with who I am and the freedom of not giving too much importance to what others think of me. Life is much easier when you don't waste your time worrying about the opinions of others. Story 7. Not caring, doing whatever you want, and my favorite, which is being able to cut toxic people out of your life without a second thought or even telling them. My peace is the only thing that matters at age 30. Story 8. Figuring out who you are, how you think, and how you interact with the world is important. Too many people never give themselves the time or attention to achieve this. Most will constantly react to the world around them with some concept of themselves that they want to be perceived as. It's sad, mostly because they end up suffering from depression or any other of the many mental health issues. Being comfortable in my own skin, not conforming to anything, and accepting who I am has proven to be the most rewarding part of life, allowing it to get better as I get older. Story 9. I care less about other people, what they do, and what they think about me and my decisions. I wasted so much time trying to please people. It's just so good to not care. Story 10. Feeling better in my own skin and not giving a damn about what anyone says or thinks. Being comfortable in having a voice to speak up and calling out nonsense directly to people's faces. Story 11. Honestly, I'm just not caring about what others think of you. Of course, I'm always polite and strive to be nice, but at the end of the day, not everyone will like you, and usually, it has nothing to do with you. Story 12. I'm 37, so not old but older than I was. I have more money and less uncertainty to a point, but those things may change towards the end of life. I know what I'm doing for a living. I have more money than I need. Sure, I hope to continue to progress in my career, but those are pivots or moves within my industry, not questions of what I want to be when I get older. Story 13. You can blame all your mistakes on age. Oh, my hearing, hands, knees, eyes, and memory aren't what they used to be, and everyone just accepts it and moves on. Story 14. One day you will give your last care. Once you've run out of those, you can do whatever you want, be whoever you want, and you don't care a bit what anyone else thinks. Story 15. Caring less about what others think and being able to be yourself. Also, my social anxiety and self-consciousness have reduced a lot as I have gotten older. Story 16. I'm still not terribly old, but two big things for me. One is actually having money to do what I want. Of course, it's not true for everyone, but most people have significantly more financial stability as they get older. It's so nice not having money be the deciding factor all the time. 2, having my affairs in order just makes things go smoother. I know what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and who to talk to if something needs to be done. There's just a lot less life stuff to fuss over than when I was younger. Story 17. I feel like as I've grown up, my friendships have gotten significantly deeper emotionally. It feels like in my early teens, most everything felt very superficial, and now I feel closer to my friends than my family even. Story 18. Caring less about what people think. Don't get me wrong, you should care about people and what they think to certain healthy degrees, but the crippling teen or young adult pressure of thinking everyone is constantly judging you and you have to look certain ways to fit in is gone. I don't care how I seem to others now. I wear what I like and do what I enjoy. Confidence is very attractive, and I had to hit some very low points as an adult to develop a thicker skin. Story 19. Trusting yourself more, as intuition has proven to be right over and over. And, of course, not letting things bother me as much. Feeling capable of so much more than I did when I was young. Having nicer things and a family of my own. Story 20. It's a privilege that far too many don't get. If you are aging, enjoy it. That, in itself, is a gift. I say this as someone who won't be afforded the opportunity of reaching old age. Otherwise, I suppose you would hope to be more financially stable at a decent point in your career, able to treat yourself to a few nice things every now and then, and at a point where you don't care what others think of you. There's a confidence that comes with age, and your insecurities about how others see you just dissipate. Story 21. Not giving a care. I don't mean that in a bad way like being unkind to people, but as I get older, I realized a lot of my stresses when I was younger came from worrying about what other people thought of my actions, to the point where I would self-censor a lot. As I get older, I realize most people's opinions don't matter as much as I thought to my life, and I feel liberated to do what I enjoy, free from judgment. Or they can judge, but it doesn't matter to me. You have one life. Live it. Story 22. I will be 49 in December, and I'll just say I am not concerned about what people say and do anymore, especially my family members. Do whatever you like. Just leave me out of it. Story 23. I don't care about fitting in. I used to pretend to like American football in grade school in order to fit in with my peers. Now I just tell people, oh, I don't watch. I think it's incredibly boring, and it's so liberating. I'm cool the way I am, and I don't need to fit in with people. Story 24. Having freedom, like doing something you really like and buying things without a worry in life. I really miss those days when I didn't have any worry at all, like my grades. Now I'm afraid of failing college and stuff. Story 25. Not giving a rat's ass what other people think of me. I spent way too long caring, and it is liberating to just be yourself and realize if someone doesn't like you, that's their deal, not yours. Just continue being a kind human and let others do what they will. Story 26. People take you more seriously. Experience makes difficult things earlier in adulthood easier or at least more manageable. Typically, but not always, higher income and a more advanced career. Story 27. Not the best, but being able to decorate your space the way you want it. I remember moving into the flat above my parents when I turned 18, so I got to have my own space and learn how to manage everything except for rent and gas, as I wanted to save up. Still, I learned how to pre-cook for the week, make cleaning a habit, keep essentials stocked, and practically learn how to live by myself mostly. I love decorating, moving things, and making myself a home. Story 28. Not much if you have a supportive family. If you have an unsupportive family, the one perk is being legally able to remove yourself and make your own life. Story 29. I had a happy childhood. I haven't really enjoyed growing older. I've lost my mom and dad. So many people I loved. My favorite thing to do now is read and eat, of course. Story 30. Well, before I had time to do things but not money, like hiking or camping. Then I had money but not the time. Retired medically. So I have time, some money, but not the ability to do things. Always a mixed bag. Story 31. You do get wiser and more stoic. Also, cash flow is much better since children are grown and gone. Grandkids. Freedom to do whatever you want. Compound interest. Story 32. One thing I'm grateful for now that I'm in my mid-30s is being able to put a lid on my anxiety. Finally, after God knows how many years, I'm able to recognize the signs, and it doesn't derail everything. There was a time I truly lost all grip on reality and hope, but I'm so glad I stuck it out because as hard as life can be, I am finally getting to enjoy good times too. Story 33. Learn to care and be cared for. Learn to be vulnerable. Learn that fear is a good thing. Know my limits. I am only human, and it is a blessing to be only human. Admit I am scared, but I can trust you and trust God. Story 34. Maturity of thought. Sometimes I feel like my past self was like an idiot, but it comes with its cons. An older body starting to ache, having to think about more difficult stuff such as career, family, and kids. If I could choose, it's not worth it in my opinion. Story 35. The lowering tolerance for nonsense that comes from life experience. I'm realizing that not all people get that as they age. I'm only 31, but I feel more secure and confident about myself than I ever did in my 20s. The ability to say no and mean it is also great, especially since I'm a recovering people pleaser. Story 36. For me, it was realizing how toxic some of my family members were and having the ability as an adult to remove them from my life since I couldn't do that as a child living with my parents. Story 37. Wisdom, I think, seeing the patterns, growing out of bad habits. At 34, I am in a really good spot, and I am excited for the future. At 24, I was in a good spot, do not get me wrong. But there have been so many ups and downs in the last 10 years, and I feel the next 10 will be a bit more stable. Story 38. Life becomes easier because you already know a lot of things and take some of them less seriously. You know which things are really important to you, and you can then take care of them. Story 39. Figuring out what you really want, not just what you think you want, and then realizing you have most of it by then, and the rest is within reach if you plan for it. Story 40. Having time. Time to rest. Time to go for a walk. Time to read and finish a book or magazine. Time to go down an internet rabbit hole. Time to find a recipe, buy the ingredients, and prepare it at a leisurely pace. I wouldn't trade my current situation for any other period in my life or all the money in the world. Story 41. The best part of growing older is realizing that naps are a luxury, not a punishment, and that you can unapologetically ignore trends because you have seen them all before. Story 42. Wisdom and stability of the self. When young, adults seem to love to tell adolescents, "You think you know everything." What they should say is, "You think you know everything about yourself." Story 43. One of the best things is that you do not really have to consider other people's opinions. I mean, you can if you want to, but truthfully, you do not really have to. Also, you can buy yourself something if you want to. Story 44. Love this topic. The best part of growing older has to be the freedom to embrace who you really are. Plus, all those life lessons make you way more interesting. Cheers to that. Story 45. The wisdom that comes with age is priceless. Plus, being older means you can finally treat yourself without worrying about what others think. Cheers to that. Story 46. When I was a kid, I always used to say that my brother has everything. A good job, good friends, a luxurious lifestyle. Everything I could think of, he had. But when I grew up, I realized that you can't be happy even after having everything. I think whatever happens, happens for good. Story 47. Not having hormones fluctuating every week. Turns out I'm not as emotionally erratic as I thought I was. It really was my hormones. For 30 years. It's really nice not having periods too. Story 48. I can decide on Tuesday I've had enough work, get on a plane, fly somewhere warm, and be on the beach Wednesday morning. I'm the head of my department and can leave work for a few days. I have money and don't answer to anyone. Story 49. As long as I am not super stressed about dying homeless or penniless, then I would say being able to experience some interesting connections with people along the way and recognizing that eventually all of this will be over, like all the suffering. Story 50. The wisdom that comes with age is amazing. I don't take things so personally anymore and don't get sucked into things that aren't important, like drama. Story 51. More patience. Time to pursue your passions and interests. Less anxiety. I don't know. Every year I accept difficulties more and more calmly. They no longer seem like problems. Now they just seem like temporary difficulties, after which everything will definitely get even better. I've become more relaxed about everything. I'm not even 25 years old yet. What will happen when I'm 50 or 60? Story 52. Not giving any cares about being cool or looking cool anymore. Do I walk my dog in my pajamas with crazy hair in the morning? You're absolutely right, I do. Go on. Take a picture and post it to social media. I'll be over here living my best life. I look at my nieces, age 19 and 12, and I think, you couldn't pay me enough to be that age again. Story 53. Hubby retired in November 2020 at age 57, a few months after our youngest graduated from college. He likes to say, I spent 30 years at a job I didn't enjoy, so now I can bike in Europe and do yoga in India. He's out biking in Washington, D.C. right now. Story 54. Mustard allergies have gone away with age in previous generations from when they were young. It is too early to tell if this generation of young people might outgrow their mustard allergies, though I guess time will tell. Story 55. Chilling out in traffic. Yes, I know that's a hard one, but I've been working on it for decades. Turn the music on, sports talk, whatever, and just ride. No hurries. You want in front of me? Go ahead. I don't give a tailgate. Sure, I'll get over a lane. Not easy, and I have my days. Story 56. Nothing. I'm 19 and in a wheelchair. My parents are horrible, selfish, and abusive addicts. So each year, I've learned to hide myself more, realizing that I'm alone and no one cares. Getting older has only opened my eyes more.